Well, good day. Good to have you all here. I want to share a little bit about my vaping experience, which is 5 days. 5 days. And like probably most vapers at my age, are smokers. So we smoke, we know it's not good for you, we would like to get rid of that nasty habit. We tried, the tablets and the stickers and the creams and all of that, and we would certainly like to find something better. And I think the best way to do that today, not only to break the habit of smoking, and I'm smoking for 40 years, but also to get into, what can I call it? It's not only the smoking or the nicotine, what you are addicted to. It's probably also, the putting something into your mouth and all that goes with it, the habit which have developed and have been ingrained over decades. Oh, we have done that, and I say we, I mean me and my wife, we have done that a couple of years ago, and we tried that, and it kind of didn't work. This time I put a bit more research in it, and I can see why it has possibly not worked. And the item which we tried to do that is this here, which is called, I have to have a look at this, a e-leaf iStick 60 watt TC60W. So it's a 60 watt device. What this does, it has a battery inside it which is rechargeable. Here we go, it looks like this. They call it an 18650. That has to do with, I think the 65 is the length, or the 18 is the diameter. Anyway, that's it. You get this, you get bigger ones, you get smaller ones, but this is the most common battery used in these kind of vaping devices. So it has an 18650 battery, it has a magnetic lid, it has the business end, which is this thing here, which is called a tank. And you will see, should you ever dip your toes into the world of vaping, they will throw acronyms at you that you don't know what has hit you. It is just immensely hard stuff which you don't know. So I watched reviews, and the first 10 reviews, they might have just as well told me about the intricate physics of the moon landing. It was RDAs and RTAs and stainless steel and nick, and it is just, like everywhere where a strong following has been generated, people develop their own jargon, and vapers certainly have done that. So what I would like to do is tell you a little bit about the journey we have taken to get off smoking using vaping, what has worked for us in the last 5 days, and why it hasn't worked for us 2 years ago. Now, 2 years ago we bought this, which is a decent device. It was a kit, and the kit is normally what they call this, which has the battery, and it has a screen where you can set wattage and other parameters. Most important is the wattage, because the wattage determines how much steam you generate and how warm the steam is. That's all it does. The tank on top, that is obviously something where you can put your liquid in. In this particular case, it has an opening on top where you put the liquid in. Some you screw the whole top apart, some slide open, but this was very simple. Now, this is the device came out in 2015. It's an old thing. I mean, if a vapor watches this, he probably believes this belongs into a museum or something. Fair enough, but it still works on the very same principle that all the others do. It has, inside of this tank, there is something which is called a coil, which in most cases, well, they have to get 2 coils. You get spring coils and you get mesh coils. As the name indicates, the spring coil looks like a little spring you would put in a model car, which is in an encasing, and then you obviously get the same thing with a piece of wire mesh. And around that you will find cotton wool, natural cotton wool, which holds the liquid around the coil. So when you press the button here, you hear the noise, it heats up the coil, and when the coil is heated up, then the coil takes the liquid which is in your tank and makes it into steam. It's practically, it heats it up, makes it into steam, and the steam is then what you inhale. Chucks huge clouds, and you get guys who vape up to 200 watt, and the cloud chucking apparently is a thing in the vaping world, not for me. And so that's what you do. You press the button, simple as that. Draw it down into your lungs and let it get out again. This is what they call, and this is another thing you will hear about, DL and MTL. Now DL means direct to lung. So what you basically do with this device, you suck on it and draw the vapor directly into your lung. This is not what you do with a cigarette. A cigarette is a mouth to lung device. So what you do with that is you draw on a cigarette, which is a much harder draw than you have on this. You draw on a cigarette, the smoke of the cigarette goes into your mouth, and then you draw it down into your lung, and then you exhale it. This is called a mouth to lung, and then you have the direct lung. This is a direct lung device. It is you need hardly to draw, and the steam comes into your mouth. So when you draw on it, like you would draw on a cigarette, and this is with the air half open, you produce huge clouds of smoke. It goes down, and you use these devices normally with low nicotine. Now I have here something which 5 milligrams of nicotine, so this is what juice bottles look like. You get them in bigger and smaller. This is one of the bigger ones. You get them, has 5 milligrams of nicotine. That's the juice I put in. The taste is blueberry ice. It tastes very nice, but it didn't get us off smoking, because the amount of nicotine in there and the way it worked did not match up with the habit we wanted to kick. In other words, it is a direct lung device, so you basically breathe through that tank. That's what you do. You breathe in and you breathe out. So it's just you just have a nice taste in your mouth, which is the whole idea of vaping. That's why people like vaping so much, because it is because of the taste. There are lots of people who vape with zero nicotine because they are just after the taste. Doesn't get you off smoking. Don't start with a direct lung device. Always start with a mouth to lung device. Now this also has the disadvantage that it is rather big, and you even get them, with 2 batteries and in all kinds of forms. I mean, there are thousands of different iterations of this basic concept. You get different tanks, and you can build your own coils, but I'm not going to go into that because this video will be for hours and we don't want that. But this is a basic direct lung device. This is an old one from 2015, works exactly the same like the newer ones. They have a charge port at the bottom, or you can also buy a charger, take the battery out and put it into a charger. And once you get into double battery devices, then obviously the charger is the better option to use. That's it. So what actually in the last 5 days made things a lot easier for us was a different device. It's a direct lung device, and you will see a couple of differences immediately. First of all, it's a lot smaller. This is called an all-in-one. You guys might have heard about the pot systems, which are these long sticks. You have a pot at the top and you drew it in, and when the pot is empty, you throw the whole thing away and put a different pot in. This is not what this is. This is what they call an all-in-one. So in other words, it is still a small device with a built-in battery, so you only can charge it through this charge port at the bottom. And it has a tank on top, and it has a coil inside, and it has a much tighter draw than the cannon or the shotgun device which I've just shown you. So in other words, when you draw on this particular thing, well, first have it switched on. You will see, you will hear already by the sound of it that the draw is a lot tighter. And in this particular one, which is called the Vaping, if you turn around the head, then you can make it even tighter. Now this is what you are used from a cigarette. So this is where you draw your vape into your mouth and then transfer it into your lung and then drive it out. This is much more cigarette-like than the big one where you basically breathe through. Big one also tastes nice, very, very tasty. This one, in other words, is something which you could use. I had a look at a couple. I wanted something which I do not throw away the pot. So with the Vaping, you can put in your own coil. It comes in here from the bottom. It has a little hole which you open up on the side. There you open that up and you put your liquid in, and you can obviously buy the liquid which works best for you. Let me just get that in the right way around again. Here we go. And now this particular also comes with a display, as did the big one, mind you. It has a nice big display, looks like this. You can set your wattage, and with a mouth to lung device you need very low wattage. It has a 1100 mAh battery in it, which lasts me a whole day. And I charge it overnight, and the next morning it's fine. But it charges actually hour and a half. It's fully charged again. You can see now it's half empty. It also still has the old micro USB device. It looks like that the guys who make these kind of devices haven't caught on that we have moved on from the micro SD device and now are on the C connectors, which obviously work a lot better. And well, I saw some devices already have the C device, and I watched the living Johannes out of YouTube, and I watched what people are reviewing these things before I actually bought one. There was also another one which was called the Smog Nord, which is a direct competitor to this Vaping. What I didn't like about that Smog Nord, also works exactly the same, is that you couldn't really see how much fluid you had in there, and the top piece didn't have magnets on the bottom. This one has magnets, and what these magnets do is they secure these particular item very nicely here. I could see with the Smog Nord, my wife having it in her handbag, that the top will fall off and then she has to search for it, and all kinds of frustrations would incur. So we would like not to have that. So I found that in the end I paid not much extra, very, very little bit extra, and I got this one. This one actually also now has an iteration which comes with the same kind of battery I've shown you in the other device. But yeah, I don't want to get technical. What I want to tell you is, if you try to stop smoking, forget about the cloud chucker devices, forget about the big tanks. Get this, which has a tight draw. The coil in there have different types of ohm, and as you might still remember from school, ohm means resistance. So the higher the ohm, the more resistance you have. So this has a 1.2 ohm coil in there, and that has a, produces a higher resistance, which is for us smokers exactly what we want. We want to draw and have a draw like we would have had on a cigarette. And that is exactly what this thing does, and all the colleagues which are out there. So as I said, this one, the Vaping, there are others from Smog and all other companies which have this device. Interestingly enough, my favorite reviewers like Jay and Vic, Smoking with Vip, if you look for somebody who is very, very knowledgeable and gives you a very good rundown of devices, have a look on the channel Vaping with Vic. he is very knowledgeable, and it is a lovely Scottish accent. Oh, I love to listen to this lad, I can tell you. Anyway, so he is a lovely guy, and he, if you look at his videos, you will see and know more than you ever wanted to know. If you don't want to, he has one video here where he explains very, very nicely how this works and what the benefits are. Just scroll through it. There are quite a few videos on this channel, and you will find it. It has something to do with Stoptober. There's that in the UK they have these every October. The NHA, or their National Health Association, has this Stoptober thing to get people off smoking, and they are promoting e-cigarettes to do exactly that. So if you want to do that, get one of these devices with a tight draw, higher resistance, anything from 0.9 upwards, and get a liquid which is, depending on how strong cigarettes you were smoking, have a liquid which has at least 12 milligrams of nicotine. That is what does it for us. Then you can also get into what they call the salts. It's just a different mixture with very strong nicotine. 35, I've seen 48. Some countries the maximum you're allowed to sell is 20, especially in the European Union, UK. Here in South Africa we can still sell the higher stuff, but 12 milligrams seems to be doing the trick for me and my wife, and that is what we are using. So if you want to stop smoking, get a mouse to lung device. You get them in all forms of iterations. If you, like me, would have something which you can put in your pocket, it's not bigger as a packet of cigarettes. This certainly isn't, and it can always be with you. Your battery lasts for a whole day. The liquid in there lasts for a whole day. This is the device to try it with, and I wish you the best of luck. We are today on day 5. We are still doing it. We're not killing each other. We still love each other. We're doing fine. This is this thing which will help you to stop smoking. And this is talking from personal experience. Well, thanks very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I will make at least one more video where I will review this Vapo device. The reason I do that, because I see that the JHA and Vic and some of the other big ones did not review this, and I can only think the reason is that Vapo did not send them a free device, because what these professional reviewers do on YouTube, they obviously only review stuff, or mostly stuff, which gets sent to them by the companies, and they asked for by the companies to review their device, and they get then paid to do it. If you look at JHA, he's very, very open, and he tells you if a device is good or not. He will let you know in no uncertain terms. He's also a bit loud sometimes. I'm not into that style. I enjoy Vic more, but you find every kind of reviewer there, young, old, middle-aged, who will give you an idea of the devices that you are there. You will find your right one. I'm sticking with Vic at the moment. I like his style. I like his precision. I like the way he does things. And just hop over and look at one of two of his videos. And if you like it, just subscribe to his channel. In no ways affiliated. I don't know the guy. I've never seen him before, apart from in his video. He's in Scotland. I'm in Cape Town. So we don't know each other. But yeah, that's where I got most of my information from. As of today, this is why I can tell you this. And I can tell you this from my own experience, that this thing certainly has taken me off smoking in the last 5 days. Doing very well. My wife's doing very well. And we certainly keep on trying. And for all of you who are trying to give up smoking and using a device like this, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks very much. Cheers.